They doubted you, not casually, not kindly. They looked you straight in the eyes with polite smiles and quiet disbelief. They nodded when you spoke of your dreams, but behind that nod was a smirk they thought you couldn't see, the kind that silently says, sure, if you're lucky. They placed invisible ceilings above your head. They whispered about your limits like they were intangible facts. And the cruelest part, some days you believed them. There's something strange about doubt. It can be heavy, but also invisible. No one else can see the weight on your shoulders. They just see you move slower and assume it's weakness when really, you're just carrying their voices. They saw someone ordinary, but they didn't see what was quietly waking up inside you. Because here's the twist no one saw coming. The very person they underestimated is about to become the person they'll never stop talking about. This isn't just another motivational story. This is a reckoning. And you can feel it, can't you? That silent storm building in your ribs. It's not loud, not yet, but it's alive. It's the sound of destiny whispering, they were wrong about you. One day they'll know. One day they'll remember this version of you, the one standing at the edge of transformation, the one they almost buried with their doubt. And on that day, they won't just remember your name, they'll regret underestimating it. Because what they didn't realize is that doubt doesn't destroy the determined. It forges them. They only saw the surface. They saw the smile, the calm, the polite "I'm fine." But they never saw the chaos happening behind your eyes. They didn't see you lying awake at 2 and staring at the ceiling as your mind replayed their words like broken glass on repeat. Maybe they're right. Maybe I'm not enough. And yet you got up again and again. Even when no one clapped. Even when your confidence was so thin you could see through it. You dragged yourself forward when quitting would have been easier because something deep down refused to die. That small, stubborn ember of belief that whispered, keep going. One more step. They saw you smiling, but they never saw you breaking. They saw the mask, but not the war. Every insult they threw, you picked it up and carried it, like bricks stuffed into your chest. Each step felt heavier than the last, but somehow, your feet still moved. And in that darkness, something unexpected happened. You didn't break. You bent. And when you bent, you changed. Quietly, slowly, relentlessly, you stopped asking for their belief. You started building your own. They thought their doubt was a wall, but you discovered it was actually a ladder, one they accidentally built out of every insult, every smirk, every whisper they'll never make it. And rung by rung, alone and unseen, you climbed. At first, the world stayed silent. Nothing magical happened. No applause, no spotlight, just the same grind, the same long days at bled into even longer nights. But something subtle was shifting, like the first crack of sunlight sneaking under a locked door. It wasn't a lightning strike. It was a quiet awakening, a slow sharpening. The late nights began to leave fingerprints on your skills. The pain started to sculpt your discipline, and the version of you they doubted began to fade. It became harder to read, sharper. They couldn't predict your next move anymore, and that unsettled them. Their silence grew heavier. Their laughter grew thin. Their confidence in your failure started to tremble. Because here's the secret they never understood. The world rarely notices you when you begin, but it cannot look away when you rise. And this was the moment the current turned. You stopped chasing their approval. You stopped explaining your dream to people committed to misunderstanding it. You weren't trying to impress them anymore. You were building something bigger than them. You were chasing destiny, and destiny runs faster than out ever could. This was the moment the quiet underdog became the quiet threat. It didn't arrive with trumpets. It didn't explode into confetti. It was quieter than that, more dangerous than that. One day, they simply saw you differently, not as the one who might make it, but as the one who already had. And it rattled them, because while they were busy doubting, you were busy transforming. And by the time they noticed, it was already too late to stop it. They once said you were average, but now they said your name with something new in their voices: respect, maybe even fear. They watched the person they left behind return as someone they didn't recognize, sharper, stronger, and absolutely unstoppable. And in that moment, you didn't need revenge. You didn't need to say, "I told you so," because your success had become so loud it made their disbelief sound small. They used to see you as a question mark. Now they see you as an exclamation point. And here's the part they'll never forget. They were watching a legacy being born, and they didn't even realize until it was standing right in front of them. They thought they'd written the final chapter of your story. They thought the doubts they cast on you would be the period at the end of your sentence. But you didn't stop at a period. You turned it into a comma. And then you kept writing, because this was never about proving them wrong. It was about proving yourself right. And you did. You rewrote your story not with arguments, not with revenge, but with results. You became undeniable. And now your existence is proof of something greater, that every person who's ever been overlooked can rise so high even their critics must tilt their heads to see them. Long after their doubt fades, your legacy will remain. So if you've ever been underestimated, if you've ever been told you weren't enough, remember this. Doubt is only dangerous if you believe it. But if you transform it, if you let it sharpen you instead of shatter you, then their disbelief becomes your lawn packs. One day, they'll whisper your name, and this time, it won't be with doubt. It'll be with Your journey doesn't end here. If you're ready to unleash the power that shapes legends from within, watch our next video. Why Mindset Changes, all because the only thing more powerful than proving them wrong is becoming someone who no longer needs to. We are Wisdom Recorder. Subscribe and like for more.